Imagine for a moment being on the brink of a financial abyss. You feel like every bill, every loan, and every credit card is an invisible chain tying you down, stealing your dreams, and extinguishing your aspirations. It's a silent weight that seems impossible to break. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, experienced that abyss firsthand. He ended up more than $800,000 in debt without a clear plan, uncertain if he'd ever be able to breathe easy again. And yet, he made it. But here's the most important thing. It wasn't the dollars he recovered that changed his life, but the profound lessons he learned about mindset, strategy, and financial discipline. Every mistake, every difficult decision, every small triumph became a roadmap to financial freedom. Today, we'll explore those lessons, not as simple advice, but as gateways to a life of abundance and control over your money. You will learn to confront your debts, transform them into steps toward your independence, and consciously rebuild your relationship with money. While you listen, I want to invite you to a powerful exercise. Think of the biggest debt or the financial challenge that has hurt you the most, and write it down in the comments with this phrase: I face it and transform it. Naming it is the first step to taking away its power. Every word you say is a brick on the road to your financial freedom. Rule 1. Brutal honesty with yourself. The first step toward financial freedom doesn't start in your wallet, but within. It's not about an accounting strategy, a payment plan, or even a profitable business. It's about something much deeper. Brutal honesty with yourself. Robert Kiyosaki confesses that for years he lived behind a facade. He drove a luxury car, wore expensive suits, dined in trendy restaurants. From the outside, he looked successful, but inside, he was broke. He had no money, he was in debt, and the image he presented was simply a mask. And that's one of the biggest financial problems of the modern world: living by appearances. According to recent studies, more than 40% of households in the United States have credit card debt they can't pay at the end of the month. And yet, on social media, they display vacations, new gadgets, designer clothes, and a lifestyle that doesn't reflect their true situation. Sound familiar? The car you use to impress, the clothes you buy to feel successful, the dinners you pay for so you don't fall out of the social circle. All of that isn't wealth, it's a disguise financed by debt. Kiyosaki learned this the hard way. You can't build freedom on a lie. The transformation began the day he dared to say the hardest words for any adult: I'm broke. And here's the big lesson. You can't draw a map to your freedom if you don't know where you stand today. Imagine wanting to get to New York without knowing which city you're departing from. It's impossible to calculate the route, the time, or the cost. The same thing happens with finances. If you don't know exactly what your current situation is, you'll never be able to create a realistic plan. Honesty is hard, but also liberating. Writing on paper: I have $25,000 in debt. I pay $800 a month in interest alone. My income is insufficient, can hurt more than anything else. But that act of facing the truth is what opens the door to change. Kiyosaki understood this when he had to look his wife Kim in the eye and confess, I'm not rich, I don't have money, we're in debt. That was the beginning of it all. Because when you accept your reality, you no longer have to waste energy pretending. And all that energy, suddenly, can be directed toward transforming yourself. Rule 2. Stop the bleeding of bad debt. Every dollar you borrow that doesn't generate a return is like a new hole in the hull of your financial boat. No matter how hard you row or how many hours you work, if the holes remain open, sooner or later water will rush in and the boat will sink. Robert Kiyosaki learned this the hard way. After losing his second business, not only did he have no income, but he owed so much money that he and his wife, Kim, went so far as to live in the basement of a California apartment. They had to survive on just a few dollars for an entire weekend. That humiliating and painful experience became a constant reminder. temporary sacrifices are the seed of future freedom. The most common mistake people in debt make is believing they can get ahead while continuing to accumulate loans, refinancing credit cards, or taking out personal loans to cover daily expenses. But this is nothing more than an illusion. A World Bank report indicates that more than 70% of indebted families in developing countries use consumer loans not to invest, but to cover basic expenses like food, rent, and utilities. This cycle is deadly. You pay interest to survive instead of using credit as a lever for growth. Think about this. If you have a credit card with a 35% annual interest rate and pay only the minimum, it can take more than 20 years to pay off a relatively small debt of $5,000. And by the end, you'll have paid more than double what you originally owed. That's not credit. It's slavery in disguise. That's why Rule 2 is clear. Immediately stop the drain of bad debt. If you're still taking out loans to pay off other loans today, you need to make a radical stop. It's not just about stopping spending, but about breaking the inertia that leads you to believe that debt is the solution. Bad debt doesn't solve anything. It only delays the problem and multiplies it. Every expense you finance with no future return is like planting a tree that will never bear fruit, but still requires water, care, and space. In the end, it only drains your resources and never gives you anything back. The solution isn't comfortable. Kiyosaki and Kim experienced it. Moving to a basement, limiting themselves to the bare essentials, learning to live with less, it was tough. But that temporary discomfort allowed them to stop digging deeper into the hole they were in. The key is to accept that the path to wealth involves discomfort. Decisions that hurt today, but liberate tomorrow. Rule 3. Make the invisible visible. 80% of people in debt make the same mistake, avoiding looking at their bills. It's as if hiding the bills in a drawer could magically make them disappear. But the debt doesn't disappear. On the contrary, it silently grows with each day of accrued interest. Robert Kiyosaki recounts that this was one of the most brutal steps in his process, sitting down with his wife Kim and writing a list of every debt, every creditor, every outstanding amount. No filters, no excuses, no hiding anything. Why is this so important? Because the human mind tends to underestimate what isn't measured. It's easy to say, I owe a lot of money, or I'm past due on several credit cards. But those vague phrases only prolong the denial. The real shock comes when you see the numbers in black and white. $15,000 on card A, $7,200 on card B, $28,000 on the student loan, $12,500 on the car loan, $8,000 with family or friends. Suddenly, what seemed like a nebula becomes a real number, $70,700 in total debt. That number may hurt, but at the same time, it's the beginning of control. According to the U.S. Federal Reserve, the average household with credit card debt carries around $6,000 in outstanding balances. And in many cases, they don't even know exactly how much they owe in interest each year. This misinformation is the main reason people never break out of the cycle. Kiyosaki understood when Kim demanded he faced reality. He didn't want to admit it, because doing so meant admitting his failure. But in the end, that list was the first roadmap out. Clarity is power. You can't attack an enemy you can't see. Imagine you have a water leak in your house. If you don't check the pipes and locate the exact point of the leak, you'll never be able to fix it. You'll just watch the water continue to flood your home. The same thing happens with debt. Until you locate each leak, you won't be able to stop the financial flood. Clarity hurts, but it's also liberating. A list on paper can be the beginning of your freedom. Each written number is a chain you've already identified, and by seeing it clearly, you can begin to break it. And here's the emotional key. It's not just about numbers. It's about taking full responsibility for your situation. When you write everything down, you're saying to yourself, I'm no longer deceiving myself. I'm no longer hiding. I'm going to face this with courage. Therefore, I want you to write it in the comments as a symbolic act. I accept success and happiness in my life. Because clarity isn't just painful, it also opens the door to what you deserve: a debt-free future with peace of mind and abundance. Rule 4. Don't go it alone. Find structure. When Robert Kiyosaki and Kim were deep in debt, Robert thought hiring an accountant was an unnecessary luxury. After all, how could he spend money on someone else when they were barely surviving? But that's where his rich dad's advice came in. Rich people have accountants, poor people don't keep records. This phrase may sound harsh, but it's profoundly true. Financial order isn't an expense, it's an investment. According to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, more than 60% of people in debt don't know exactly how much they owe or how much interest they're paying each year. Lack of record keeping isn't just a mistake, it's a silent enemy that prolongs financial slavery. Here's the key. When you're emotionally charged and stressed, it's almost impossible to keep clear accounts. The mind avoids what hurts. That's why you need external structure like an accountant, a financial mentor, or even a simple spreadsheet that you use every day. Kiyosaki discovered that order not only gave him clarity, but also lifted the emotional burden. A professional could see what he didn't want to see and put it in order. And that order was the bridge to the right action. Imagine you have to cross a fast-flowing river. You can swim aimlessly, exhausting your energy and risking sinking. Or you can build a solid bridge that allows you to walk to the other side step by step. That's the difference between improvising alone and having structure. An accountant or a mentor won't solve your life, but they do give you a framework, a strategy, a plan that you can follow with discipline. Order turns chaos into a path. Most importantly, numbers never lie. When you have a clear record, no matter how you feel, reality is written in numbers. And from there, you can make smart decisions. If today you feel you can't afford professional help, don't limit yourself. There are free tools, templates, support communities, and even financial management apps that can give you that initial structure. But don't fall into the trap of believing that you can manage everything in your head. Finances aren't mastered by memory, they're mastered by structure. Rule 5. Turn your debts into a visual map. One of the biggest mistakes people in debt make is that their debts live only in their heads. And in their heads, everything seems more confusing, more chaotic, and bigger than it really is. Therefore, the next step is to get those debts out of your head and into a visual map. This can be a spreadsheet, a notebook, or even a board posted on your wall. The important thing isn't the format, but rather that each debt is recorded and visible as total outstanding amount, minimum monthly payment, interest rate applied, due date or maturity date. Let's suppose you have 4 main debts, which are credit card A, $4,800 at 28% annual interest. Credit card B, $2,300 at 24%. Student loan, $18,000 at 6%. Personal loan, $9,500 at 12%. In your head, this is an overwhelming cloud of numbers. But if you put it on a bar chart or a dashboard with columns, you can suddenly see clearly which is the biggest monster and which one you can eliminate first. That act transforms debt into something tangible. And tangible things can be measured, attacked, and defeated. The American Psychological Association showed in recent studies that people who visualize their goals, whether with visible charts, boards, or lists, are 42% more likely to achieve them compared to those who keep them only in their minds. Debt, like an illness, worsens in the dark. But when you make it visible, you stop fearing it and start planning. Every time you cross off a paid debt or see your chart decrease month after month, you experience a small psychological victory that reinforces your financial discipline. Think of it as a journey map. If you drive from city to city without a map, you don't know how much further you're going, where to rest, or where the next toll is. But with a visual map, you know exactly where you are and how far you have to go. Debt works the same way. When you have a map, You're no longer navigating blindly. A chart on your wall can become a daily reminder that every small payment, no matter how insignificant, brings you closer to your goal. And that reminder is a constant source of motivation. Therefore, at this point, I want you to write in the comments as an empowering affirmation: I accept success, money, and happiness in my life. Because order isn't just in your numbers, it's also in your mindset. Rule 6. The magic of quick victory. When you're facing multiple debts, the classic question is, do I pay the largest one first or the one with the highest interest? Kiyosaki proposes something different. Pay the smallest debt first. It sounds almost counterintuitive, but there's a powerful psychological reason behind it. Why quick win works. Each debt paid off is a broken chain, a small triumph that builds confidence. Confidence, in turn, is financial fuel. It shows you that you can move forward, that your efforts produce concrete results. The quick win strategy is also called the snowball method. Various studies on financial habits show that immediate satisfaction increases adherence to payment plans by up to 70%. The mind needs small victories to sustain large, consistent change. The magic of the snowball effect. When you pay off your first debt, that payment that previously went to several accounts can now be added to the next goal. Let's say your minimum payment on card A was $200. Once eliminated, that $200 is added to the minimum payment on card B. Thus, each subsequent payment grows without increasing your monthly effort. Analogously, it's like pushing a snowball down a hill. At first it's small, but each turn adds size and speed until it becomes an unstoppable avalanche. The trick isn't just in the numbers, but in the psychology of gaining confidence. The human mind responds best to visible and quick results, and that creates consistency in your financial decisions. Therefore, I want you to write in the comments as an act of financial and mental power: I am prosperous and I attract wealth. Each word reinforces your conviction and your ability to transform debt into freedom. Rule 7. The difference between liabilities and assets. Here lies the essence of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The way you define your purchases and your money determines whether you advance toward wealth or stagnate in the illusion of prosperity. Liabilities versus assets. The golden rule. A liability takes money out of your pocket. Every month, every year, it represents an expense that generates no return. Examples: luxury cars with loans, expensive gadgets, the mortgage on a house that produces no income. Owning a home, even a dream, can become a liability if costs like the mortgage, maintenance, and taxes exceed any financial return. An asset puts money in your pocket. Every investment generates positive cash flow. Examples include rental properties, stocks that pay dividends, a business that produces passive income. Even $10,000 invested in a fund that earns 7% annually can produce $700 annually with no additional effort, while the same amount spent on a car constantly loses value. The most common mistake. Millions of people work hard to buy liabilities, believing they're assets. They buy a big house to invest in their future, or an expensive car to show off their success. But if that expense doesn't produce income, you're building illusory wealth, not real wealth. Think of your money as an army of workers. Every dollar should be working for you. A liability is a worker who sits at home doing nothing, eating up your resources. An asset is a worker who produces and multiplies your army. The difference between wealth and poverty depends on who you send to work. If an average family spends $500 a month on liabilities that don't generate income, in 10 years, they will have spent $60,000 with no financial return. Meanwhile, $500 a month invested in assets with a conservative 6% return could grow to $100,000 thanks to compound interest. The first step toward financial freedom
is recognizing what an asset is and what isn't. Every purchase should be evaluated for its ability to generate money, not just its emotional or social value. Rule 8. The power of good debt. When we talk about debt, many see it as the enemy. But not all debt is bad. The difference lies in how it is used and what it generates. Bad debt versus good debt. Bad debt finances liabilities that consume money without generating returns. Examples: high-interest credit cards, luxury cars, financed vacations. Each month, you pay more interest than benefits. This debt enslaves you because you work for the bank, not for yourself. Good debt finances assets that generate income. The key is that the money coming in covers and exceeds the debt payment, creating positive cash flow. Example: a small condominium that generated just $25 a month. That same concept, strategically multiplied across hundreds or thousands of properties, allowed Robert Kiyosaki and Kim to generate million-dollar incomes. Think of debt as an engine. Bad debt is an engine that consumes gasoline without moving you. It only burns money. Good debt is an engine that drives you toward financial freedom. Every dollar invested works for you, generating more dollars. Let's suppose you buy an asset with $100,000 in debt at 5% annual interest, and the asset generates $800 per month net. Monthly debt payment is $537, and positive cash flow is $263 each month. In 1 year, that positive cash flow adds up to $3,156. And each month, you reduce part of the principal, increasing your net worth. Now imagine multiplying this model by 10 properties. $31,560 in annual cash flow plus asset appreciation. Thus, debt ceases to be an enemy and becomes a strategic tool. Success lies not in avoiding debt, but in using debt as an ally that generates income, while eliminating bad debts. Financial freedom depends on your ability to distinguish between them and make calculated decisions. Reflect on your financial commitments and write in the comments, "I accept success, money, and happiness into my life." This isn't just motivation. It's a daily reminder that your financial decisions can build real and sustainable wealth.
Rule 9. Your success depends on your internal preparation. Money is just a consequence. Your true financial limit isn't in the markets, investments, or bank interest. It's in your emotional, mental, and spiritual capacity to sustain it. Create an internal map of financial success that includes 1. Mindset. Beliefs like "I don't deserve to be rich" or "money is evil" act as invisible brakes. Robert Kiyosaki points out that wealth is first built in the mind, reprogramming limiting thoughts. Every dollar you earn can double in value only if you believe you deserve to multiply it. 2. Emotions. Financial pressure can break anyone. Imagine owing $50,000 and having to invest in an asset that promises a medium-term return. The ability to stay calm, assess risks, and act with discipline turns anxiety into strategy and strategy into profit. 3. Spirituality and purpose. Wealth without purpose is empty. Every investment, every property, every business should be aligned with a purpose greater than money itself. This not only gives meaning, but also strengthens resilience in the face of temporary losses. 4. Body and discipline. Physical energy and daily routine are the driving force of financial performance. If you neglect your health, your ability to act and maintain discipline declines. Studies show that an entrepreneur who sleeps less than 6 hours a day and has irregular habits can lose up to 20 to 30% of productivity, directly affecting their income. Your internal preparation is like the capital of a business. If the capital is weak, any investment, no matter how large, runs the risk of failure. But if your internal capital is solid, your mind, emotions, purpose, and body,
even a small investment can grow exponentially. Let's assume you develop your financial and emotional intelligence to 80%. A well-managed $10,000 investment could generate $2,000 a year in cash flow. Now imagine that, without internal preparation, that same investment could lose $1,500 due to impulsive decisions. Your success lies not only in the number, but in your ability to sustain and multiply that money. Rule 10. Discipline is the bridge to freedom. Knowing all the financial rules, having detailed lists, and impeccable systems doesn't guarantee success if there's no discipline to execute them. Discipline is the invisible bridge that connects knowledge to true financial freedom. Consistency as the engine of progress. Financial independence doesn't happen overnight. It's a cumulative process. 1. Every timely payment you make on your debts avoids unnecessary interest and brings you closer to balance. For example, reducing a $10,000 loan by paying an additional $500 a month can save you more than $1,200 in interest per year. 2. Every consistent investment, no matter how small, generates the effect of compound interest. Investing $200 a month for 20 years with an average return of 8% per year can add up to more than $120,000. 3. Every conscious financial decision, such as reviewing your spending and avoiding impulse purchases, strengthens your autonomy over your money and your life. Discipline turns small, everyday actions into building blocks for your independence. Without it, even the most brilliant strategies crumble like a sandcastle before the tide of inconstancy. Think of discipline as the steel in a bridge's structure. The bridge may look elegant and planned, but if the steel is weak or non-existent, it won't support the weight. Your financial knowledge is the blueprint. Discipline, the steel that supports each step toward freedom. A FINRA study shows that 45% of Americans feel unable to maintain a consistent monthly budget. This lack of discipline creates invisible losses, interest payments, missed investment opportunities, and financial stress that can cost thousands of dollars a year. Every disciplined act, no matter how small, is an investment that returns peace of mind and future capital. Now you know. Getting out of debt isn't just a mathematical strategy, it's a personal transformation. Robert and Kim went from despair to freedom, and you can too. Remember, brutal honesty with yourself, conscious short-term sacrifices, focus on assets that generate cash flow, and above all, unwavering discipline. If this resonated with you, it's because you're ready for the next message. Subscribe and join me on this path to financial freedom. Your story is just beginning.